Another Dooley Noted Podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. Okay, and welcome into another Dooley Noted Podcast, presented as always by Titan MRI, our good friends over there. And we're coming to you from the Meldon Law Gators Studios. Of course, we'll have Coach Spurrier on today, presented to you by Meldon Law as well. We got a lot of stuff to get to. Danny Werfel will join us on Friday. He's at least scheduled to join us. We think that's all set up and ready to go, and that'll be a lot of fun to talk to him about a lot of things, including his Desire Street tournament up in Jacksonville for the weekend of the Florida-Georgia game. And it's been a kind of a weird – it's almost like all of our timing. Like when there's a hurricane, everybody's schedule gets thrown off and you kind of lose track of days. And then with a Sunday game, you really lose track of games. It doesn't feel like Florida played yesterday. It feels like they played 2 days ago. But they did play yesterday, and we'll get to that in just a minute. But it was strange for me watching the game because I had to watch it on my computer because for some reason my TV, ESPN Plus, didn't work on my TVs. But it worked on my big TV, but I had to be in the office because I had other things to do. I was writing, blah, blah, blah. And stats were not made available until after the game. It was I mean, they were at the ballpark, and I should have gone. The more I think about it, that would have been a smart move. All right, it is time for us to get to our Hand Law starting lineup. And, of course, we love Chris Hand over at Hand Law and all the great stuff they do as a sponsor, and we really appreciate them. And especially the starting lineup. The starting lineup is presented to you by Hand Law, a Florida law firm which helps clients with government. You can learn more about Hand Law by visiting its website at www.hand.law. www.hand.law. The firm is available for consultation in Jacksonville. We have a lot of listeners. We know that. All right, number one is not going to be Gators football. I know you're going to get mad at me, those of you who are Mets fans. But I am so happy today. The Mets and the Braves play that 3-game series, and I'm like, God, the trouble is they got to win all 3. That was the problem going into that series. Because if the Mets got one, they got the tiebreaker. And so if they tied with the Braves, they would win the division. And then the Braves get stuck in a not a good situation, which the Mets are going to be stuck in if the Braves just can get one more win or the Mets lose one more game. But it was playoff baseball, and I watched the whole game last night, just freaking out and screaming and yelling. My wife's like, "What are you doing? Are you what football game are you watching?" I go, "Oh, I'm watching the Braves game." But no, it was pretty cool, and to do what they did, winning all 3 of these games, and now. See, the problem for the Mets is the Mets are going to have to play the wild card now. Now again, it's not over. And I'm like in the 9th inning, there are 2 outs and nobody on base, and Kenley Jansen's pitching, and people are celebrating and they're kissing each other and hugging, and I'm like, it's not over. It's not over. The Braves have to win one of these last 3 games, or the Mets have to lose one But if that happens, and I think it will. The Mets now have to play in the wild card round against a really good team with a rotation set. Then I think they'd have to play the Dodgers, whereas it's an easier route. Now, I'm not saying it's easy. It's playoff baseball. We all know what happens there. But it's going to be an interesting offseason. I mean, on playoff season, and I'm excited about it. The coolest thing, and I thought about getting Tammy and Jason to download it, but I'm good. I can tell you what it was. Last night in Nissan Stadium, which is where the Titans play, Elton John was giving a concert, and he stopped at one point, and the crowd was like, yeah, they're all excited, and he goes, I feel really good about one thing tonight. The Mets got swept by the Braves. He's a big Braves fan. You wouldn't think it, but he is. Guy from England, but he's a huge Braves fan and has been for a long time. I kind of knew that, but I think I'd forgotten. So Braves win, Braves win, Braves win. Number 2, obviously, Florida wins. My thoughts about that game, 52-17. They could have named their score. I still don't like the way the defense is playing. To give up 27 first downs, 423 yards, to a team like that. And look, that's a good FCS team. And Florida took care of business. But I'm still not happy with where the defense is. I know 17 points came in the fourth quarter when backups were in the game. But they got 15 first downs in the first half. And it just seems like they played new guys, and it didn't seem to make things better. It almost made things – I don't want to say it made them worse. I don't think it could be worse than the week before. But so many big plays on offense, 666 yards of offense. That's not a good number to have. They should have gotten an extra yard to get off that 666. But certainly they took care of business. That's the biggest thing. Eastern Washington got $750,000, got to come down here, got to see the swamp, play in the swamp. Guys got to score touchdowns in the swamp. They're happy. Everybody seemed happy after the game. But look, and I've written this and I've said this, everybody talks about the 4 games at the beginning of the season, and it was tough, brutal. The teams, I think, are ranked now 8, 11, and 13. We talked about that last week. But the bottom line is this is where the season is going to be made in these 5 games here, all SEC games. This is where you're going to find out whether you're really making progress. They seem to be, but that's when you're going to find it out. These 5 games, starting with Missouri this week. Florida already a 10-point favorite, which I think that's way too many points. We've seen what kind of defense Missouri played. Unbelievable game against Georgia. But anyway, Florida took care of business, got the win, got to play a lot of guys. It was actually, it was a perfect day weather-wise, good crowd. They announced it at 72,000. I don't think there were that many people there, but I knew there wasn't going to be that many people there because it was a Sunday, church. People back in the at Fort Myers area certainly weren't going to any football games. They were trying to dig out and count the bodies, which is just awful what happened there, as we all know. We all know that. All right, number 3 on the hand law, 3 things. Alabama back to number 1. Does it matter? Not really. But it's something to talk about. It's almost like the AP poll does things for talk radio. Hey, now Alabama's number 1. What do you think? And we'll ask Robbie that question in just a little bit. But Georgia didn't look great in that game. Georgia would look like they got beat on the line of scrimmage. But I still would put Georgia number 1. I don't think you should ever get knocked out of number 1 because of a win. But people will say, well, it doesn't matter anyway. The polls don't matter. The polls matter to me. I care about the polls. I used to be an AP voter until I retired. I love doing the polls, and I love looking at the polls and seeing where everybody is. It matters this much. It used to matter this much. I mean, there was a time when it was all that mattered. All you had to do was win the poll, and you were national champs. Then you had to play somebody after you won the first or second in the poll, and you were national champs. Then we had the BCS system and all that, which is a disaster. And the polls still matter, but just not quite as much. But now they matter a little bit. Those guys that meet in that committee out in Texas when they're deciding the 4 teams, they look at the polls. Don't think the polls don't matter at all. They matter a little bit. Not as much, maybe this much. But they're more of interest. Last week we had 5, we talked about it, 5 ranked on ranked games. That's what got us excited. It wouldn't, if nobody was ranked, I don't know if we'd be as excited. I think they matter. But Alabama is number 1. Georgia actually got more first place votes, but they're number 2. Okay, so number 4 is the firings continue. And look, this is what's going to happen. And I'm looking forward to talking to Coach Spurrier about this. With all the money that's coming in to all these different teams, and even the crappy deal that the ACC got, all the money's coming in, they're not going to wait a long time. They're going to say, no, well, let's go somewhere else. Let's try something else. It's not working. So Paul Chryst gets fired at Wisconsin. A little bit of a stunner. A lifelong guy. I think he's a native of Madison. Played there or went to school there. Has been the coach there for a while. He was a favorite son. But, man, they stink this year. They had 2 yards rushing in their last game against Illinois. Ironically, this is a great trivia thing. Brett Bielema, by beating him, got him fired, and so Brett Bielema stays 1 ahead of him in the all-time wins at Wisconsin. There's some trivia for you there. But he got fired, lost 34-10 to Illinois. I think that was the last straw. Carl Durrell fired at Colorado. We knew that was coming. It was just a matter of when, and now we'll see who's next. But that's 5 Power 5 coaches that have been fired, and we're 5 weeks into the season. It seems a little crazy, but it is the reality of what we're dealing with now. All the stuff that we're dealing with in college football, once the program starts to dip, ADs are quick to make a move. We've seen it here in Gainesville. When a coach who had been to 3 straight New Year's Six Bowls got fired in the 4th year. We saw it with Will Muschamp. Guy was coach of the year, 2 years later fired. And a lot of people felt like should have been fired the next year. We saw it with McElwain. 2 straight SEC East, fired before he can even compete for another one. So anyway, that's the way it is in college football. And number 5 is why I love college football. What a day Saturday was. That Georgia-Missouri game was unbelievable. Auburn losing to LSU, finding a way to lose that game. FSU losing at home to Wake Forest. There were just so many great games, and it's why I love the game. The funniest thing I saw, though, this weekend, we kept getting the split screens again with Aaron Judge. And somebody tweeted this out there. They said, the big question is who gets to 62 first, Aaron Judge or TCU? And TCU almost did. They got to 55 and they shut it down. Oklahoma, what is going on there? That's unbelievable to give up 55 to TCU. It's unbelievable that game day is now going to Kansas. What is going on in this world? This is going to be, we're 5 weeks in. This has been really enjoyable year. I think it's just going to keep getting better. Teams are more closely bunched in. And you just saw that with Missouri almost beating Georgia. We thought Georgia wouldn't even have a close game. It's just going to be exciting. I can't wait for the rest of it. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, so that is our Hand Law starting lineup. We love doing that with Chris Hand. We got a lot of things to get to. But, of course, what we are going to do right now is bring on Coach Spurrier to talk about the game of the weekend and all the other stuff. We'll have the Campus USA play of the game from Sunday's game. I keep saying Saturday's game. Sunday's game, and it's a humdinger. Well, the one I chose, but I like it very much. So we'll be back with Coach Spurrier, and we'll continue on Another Dooley Noted Podcast, brought to you and presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from Another Dooley Noted Podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Brewer To Go. What gave you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. To Go. Come on down and enjoy it.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life, and the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
Albert, Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down.
Pat Dooley's Story Time is brought to you by Eastlake Pediatrics. Nobody knows how to provide pediatric health care for little Gators better than Dr. Mike and the other board-certified pediatricians and the pediatric nurse practitioners of Eastlake Pediatrics. They have been providing personalized health care to the children of Pinellas, Pasco, and Hillsborough counties since 2004. And with the recent addition of Dr. Chris, who is also board certified in sports medicine, they are now offering care for youth sports injuries as well. To learn more about Eastlake Pediatrics, call 727-372-6760. And to get to know them better, listen to Dr. Mike and Dr. Carey on their Peds and Pop podcast on multiple platforms. Gator football is back, and the best way to get exclusive insight is a membership in the Gainesville Quarterback Club. As the oldest Gator booster club in the world, Gainesville Quarterback Club gives you the access to speakers like coaches, Gator greats, and more. Yeah, I even talk over there. It's pretty cool. Share your passion for Gator football with hundreds of other members at weekly in-person meetings or for non-locals via Zoom with an out-of-town membership. Right now, out-of-town memberships are only $150, and all new out-of-town signups get entered to win 2 Champions Club tickets to homecoming. That's pretty cool. Against Missouri, speaker presentations, home game tailgates, and special events throughout the year. Join the Gainesville Quarterback Club today. Email the club at membership@quarterbackclub.org or call me, Pat Dooley, 352-317-3444, and I'll get you in touch with the right people. Gainesville Quarterback Club.
Is your bank dropping the ball, not playing with heart or skill? Then you need to check out the scouting report on Campus USA Credit Union. That's a 5-star recruit if I've ever seen one. Campus has it all, like great rates and products, friendly service, and smart game plans for you and your money. So why not put some star power in your financial life? Visit campuscu.com or any campus service center today.
Honey, can I recruit you to take the garbage out?
All right, welcome back to Another Dooley Noted Podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. And Meldon Law brings you every Monday Coach Spurrier. We always love having him on.
Yeah, it's always good to be here, Pat. I tell you what, we had a terrible storm come through South Florida, Fort Myers, and then it went all the way up through Orlando and Daytona Beach. We're fortunate here in Gainesville, didn't get much of anything. And certain parts of the state were spared. Tampa thought they were going to get wiped out.
Yeah, they did.
But anyway, I know us Gators want to pitch in and do what we can. There's 2 funds that are out there, the FloridaDisasterFund.org. You can make contributions to that. That's a good one. It goes straight to helping the relief down there. And then you can give a $10 by just texting Ian 90999. Ian 90999 will send you $10 off your phone. So
I did that right away when it first came up.
I've sent in. I'm gonna send some more in on that $10 one. That's easy to do.
It's easy to
do.
Exactly.
One a day of those and not hurt your own income and help those people down there. They need help.
They do need it. It's the more you see, it only gets worse. It's like every time they show you new clips, it's even worse.
It was a total disaster through Fort Myers and Naples and on up through even Orlando.
Yeah, really bad. All right, Coach, so we had a rarity, something that's never happened in the Swamp before, a Sunday game. And Florida took care of business.
Yeah. You know, Pat, sitting there watching that, and guys are a little looser, and but they came to play, and the team played well. But those games, I think somebody's calling it a feel-good game. When the game's over, all the guys got to play. The bench guys on the bench, and our guy Kitna, the backup quarterback. Heck, we didn't know he could play like that. he was really good. He hit just about everything, and if Anthony gets hurt, heck, we can still play. So it was a feel-good game, and now we got Missouri, a team that coulda, woulda, shoulda beat Georgia last week. I hate those games when you lose 26-22. That 22 is a bad number to have, by the way.
It is.
Because that's a field goal number.
Yep.
They scored 1 touchdown and kicked 5 field goals.
Yeah. And the irony is the guy who missed a chip shot to beat Auburn then kicks 5 field goals, and I think one of them was like 52 yards.
Oh, he's a good kicker.
Yeah.
But, you go 7, 10, 13, 16, 19, 22, and then the other team scores a touchdown.
Well, the big play was when they ran it down to the 1, and they got a false start because they tried to do the hurry up, run down there, catch them. Yeah.
Had to kick field goal.
I would make sure my team was set.
Those little things come back and bite you. I don't know why it happens so often, but when you fail to score like that, 98 Tennessee game, Gillespie caught that little pass and got tackled on the 2-yard line, and we had to kick a field goal.
Yep.
And lost by 3. So, anyway, that's what cost Missouri because they played even with Georgia pretty much the whole game.
They were leading almost the whole game. It was amazing.
So it's going to be a good test for us here Saturday.
Absolutely, it will be. People were looking this up, and I think Florida put out some wrong information, and they were calling me because they knew I would know, and I did know. The last time Florida started the game with a bomb for a touchdown was Andre DeBose against Alabama in 2012. 12 it would have been. No, 11. Muschamp's first year. So right. I was trying to think of if you guys ever did, and somebody said that 92 South Carolina, you might have thrown a deep pass for a touchdown in the first play. But I couldn't think of any other game.
I can't think of the first play one. Although,
because I remember the one to Riddell in '96 at Arkansas was the second play. Mm-hmm. You'd run a play and then you threw the deep ball to him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of first drives we would throw, but open the game. I thought that was beautiful throw.
Yeah,
and I love the pattern we ran. The one guy runs it to safety and cuts across, and the other guy basically runs an inside deep post. I mean a deep one, and Anthony threw it. He must have thrown it 60 yards, and.
I think it was 56 in the air. Yeah,
shorter caught it.
Yep,
shorter ran it down. I thought for a minute it might be just
too
out
far.
Of grasp, but he ran it down. A heck of a play. Good play.
Yeah. So when you're looking at a team and and you come up with that play, is it because they're playing the safeties up and you say, hey, we may be able to get by them on the first play? I mean, because you were kind of more like, all right, here's our script. How much did you script plays back in those days?
We would tell the guys we're going to probably throw these passes the first or second series.
Yeah.
But we had just a game plan, and the plan was always sort of depending on how the other team plays defense.
Right.
If they play deep zones, you got to throw underneath. If they play tight, you throw it over their head. And obviously we had receivers all those years that could get open, and the quarterbacks that could throw it to them. So the big key is having the right play on against the defense, because that gives your percentages a much chance to be higher.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, like even the deep pass, it wasn't that deep, but it was deep to Riddell in Knoxville in the rain that day. The play was for Hilliard on the across the middle, right?
Well, if they had a deep safety back there, but Danny went back, they didn't have a deep safety. One of their guys sort of covered Ike on a deep middle, so he saw Riddell and let it go.
Yeah. But I mean, it's an interesting way to start the game. And again, I'm still sitting here, and I don't know about the defense. I don't know if it's. I think it's going to be all year. It's going to be pretty much what it is. I mean, they gave up 27 first downs to Eastern Washington.
Yeah, bend but don't break. We like those 3-and-out defenses. And I tell you what, people don't realize how good our defense was. First 2 years I was here.
Yeah.
Or you were here. Georgia, I think, punted 11 or 12 times, and Auburn punted 12, I think. So in one game, Auburn and Georgia punted 23 times. I know that. So that's how good our defense was.
If you had a choice between your 90 defense and your 98 defense to put on the field.
Well, statistically, the 98 was better. We lost 2 games in 90. The other team got 45 points in both games.
They did. That's right.
Tennessee and FSU got 45 points, and that was our only 2 losses. And that hurt our stats on defense.
Yeah, 98, I think they scored 20. Tennessee scored 20, right? And took overtime to get to that. And then
the 98 team lost on the road to the 2 teams that played for the national championship. FSU
and should have beaten them both.
Could have, should have, but we didn't.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Well, that's what it comes down to. And I did want to talk to you about coaches getting fired and rapid. I mean, we're sitting here with 5 Power 5 coaches have been fired 5 weeks into the season. It's amazing.
Well, most of them have been there 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
It's not like they're the first year, and they hadn't shown any progress. And the AD said, "Are we going to go 3-8 again or 3-9? So let's just make a change now." And Georgia Tech got a win last week.
I know. I saw. I beat Pitt.
Yeah, beat a good team, Pitt. So shoot, that guy might get the head job. So we'll see. It didn't help Nebraska to make a change.
No, it didn't.
Who else made a change? Anybody?
Well, Colorado.
Wisconsin made one today, I
Wisconsin
guess.
made one, and then I'm blanking on who the other team was. So Georgia Tech, Wisconsin, Colorado, and Arizona State. That's who I couldn't think of. Herm Edwards.
Yeah, Herm went first, I think.
Yeah. So here we are, but I mean, you kind of understood it with almost all of them. And Paul Christ I think he's a good coach. He won a lot of games, won 3 times. He won his division, but they had 2 yards rushing Saturday.
Yeah.
So that's when they go against Brett Bielema too, who of course they fired
game.
too.
Yeah, Wisconsin, they got pride in football. I think
Yeah,
they have
do.
a strong tradition. They really do. They've haven't won a lot of maybe Big Ten championships, although they've won a few here and there. But they're always up there with
Right.
8, 9, 10 wins, something like that.
But I think these ADs, when they see it starting to dip now, they're quicker with the trigger. You know, just like, hey, we can afford it now. I mean, because so much money's coming in, we can afford it. Let's nip this in the bud.
Yeah, the ADs almost have to tell everybody better times are coming, so we've got to make a change with the head coach. And a lot of times, obviously, it works or helps out. It doesn't always work, but it's got a chance to work.
What you mentioned Missouri, the Missouri game coming up Saturday. Of course, Florida already a 10-point favorite, which kind of makes me nervous. But I think finally we're at the point where Florida's played Missouri enough that people aren't going to call you asking you about the '65 Sugar Bowl.
Sugar Bowl. That was Missouri, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it was a different Missouri.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't Johnny Rowland on that team?
I'm trying to think of Charlie Brown. I know was their little tailback.
Yep.
He ran for a bunch of yards in the first half. Francis Pay was an offensive lineman that made All-American. It was one of the very few games that we played that had black athletes.
Yeah,
on the
that's
team.
right. Yeah.
We played at Northwestern. That was the first time, I think. And then Missouri. But it wasn't any big deal. It wasn't any big deal at all to either team, really. We just went and played the game.
Why was the offense so bad in the first 3 quarters of that game?
They rushed about 8 guys. They put an 8-man front up there and rushed them. And our little pass protection, we couldn't block the guys. We didn't have a protection. And I remember I came over and asked Coach Kinsler. I said, "Coach, they're rushing more than we can block. I can't get anything off." And I said, "What do you want to do?" He said, "I don't know." so I said, "Was it okay if I start making up some plays?" He said, "Sure." So I told Harper, get in the up position, and I'll roll out and hit you in the flat. They were rushing 8 guys.
Yeah.
So nobody covering the flat. So we hit a few here and a few there, and then sort of loosened them up and then hit a few down the middle. But, yeah, if you don't have a protection for blitzes, the other team should do it.
Which is
Until
what
you change.
Missouri did to Georgia. They were blitzing them all the time, and they were handling the line of scrimmage too. And that's why Stetson Bennett was getting killed in that game.
Yeah, Missouri had a good game plan, and all they had to do was score touchdowns instead of kick field goals, and they would have been the winner.
You know, it's 5-5 since they joined the league, which is amazing because I don't think anybody was worried about Missouri when they came into the league. What did they do? They won the first 2 SEC East, but with Gary Pinkel. But you know, they love to beat Florida. I mean, they did a good job of it last year in overtime. That certainly was a 2-point conversion. But you know, there were a lot of great games this weekend. It was fun to have a Saturday where you didn't have to think about the Gators. You know, just watch college football.
Yeah, Mississippi State had a big win over Texas A&M.
It surprised me. I wasn't surprised they won. I was surprised by how easily they won.
Yep.
And they ran the ball on them.
And they got some good breaks. They got a pick 6.
Yep.
And I think their special team may have scored 1. But who'd ever thunk this summer when Jimbo Fisher and Saban were yawing at each other or whatever, that was going to be where game day would
Oh,
go
yeah.
to A&M and Alabama. Now they're playing. Nobody gives a damn.
Yeah,
Game day is going to be at Lawrence, Kansas.
I know.
Kansas versus TCU is the game of the week in the nation. Now, who would ever bet on that a long time ago?
I mentioned this earlier. One of the great tweets I saw this week was somebody said, "Who's going to get the 62 first, Aaron Judge or TCU?" Because they were at 55.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that is an amazing story. Oklahoma, how they changed coaches. Of course, Lincoln Riley took a bunch of guys with him.
You know, they were in the top 4 3 weeks ago.
I know.
Oklahoma, when they clobbered Nebraska, I had them up there in my top 4 or 5 because they were undefeated. But they've got their defense. They've given up, about 40 both weeks in a row?
Yeah.
Something like that.
And I watched a lot of the game, and, I mean, TCU just rip off 8, 9, 10, 12, without any problem. The same as what happened last week. I mean, they just can't stop anybody.
TCU's pretty good also. I think they're 5-0, correct?
Sonny Dykes is over there, yeah.
Yeah, he on the radio, Ricky Neuhauser was talking about when he was at SMU, he beat TCU, and now he's at TCU and they beat SMU. So he proves he can beat the other guys just no matter where he's at. He can win the game. So give him credit, and I think his play caller is Lincoln Riley's little brother. His little
is he?
brother's
Yeah,
at
that's right.
TCU.
Yeah. Yep.
So those guys, they know something about throwing the ball around and
They do.
running them option plays and so forth.
Yeah, their quarterback, Max Dugan's pretty good too, TCU. That'll be
Yep, he's a good player and runner, and he can. These running quarterbacks now, Pat, and good running backs.
Yeah.
It's tough on the defense. It really is.
It is, because they spread you out, and then all they got to do is beat one guy.
Guys are going in motion everywhere. And they fake to him, give it to the back. Quarterback keeps it, and most of these quarterbacks are as good a runners as the tailbacks now. They can go and make yards. They don't run out of bounds. It's hard to stop all that stuff.
I tell you, the guy who, of course, is a Kansas coach, Lance Leopold. I was a big fan of his when he was at Buffalo. I mean, I really liked the way he coached. And I saw a couple of interviews with him, and now to get Kansas to this point at 5-0 is amazing. I didn't think anybody could do that again, But he's a good coach, and he'll be a guy. And we were talking about, with now both Wisconsin and Nebraska open, they may be in a bidding war for this guy to get him to come up there.
Yeah, it'll be interesting if some of these coaches that have done real well, like the coach at Kansas State has done very well, if they will leave or not. I sort of admired the Cincinnati coach that stayed.
Luke Fickell.
Fickell this past year,
Yeah.
as they were in the top 4 in the nation last year. But anyway, it's if you get a good place and the pay is not a whole lot different, I think it's smart to stick the same place a long time if you can, 10 years or more, whatever.
When you were at Florida, how many college teams ever approached you about leaving?
College teams,
Because I know you got a lot of NFL interest, but I can't
Yeah.
think any college team thought they could get you away from your alma mater.
no, there's not any college team that would have I would have even thought about. So no, I
So
didn't.
they ain't come after you.
Yeah, a few pro teams would call, and I talked to a couple here and there, but I resigned first, and then talked to 2 or 3, and
Right.
and then chose the wrong one. But anyway, that enabled me to go back and finish up in the SEC at South Carolina.
Do you still root against the Redskins?
I don't. Some
I do.
of my relatives do.
I do too.
I don't care.
I'll
No.
never forgive them.
No, we don't have anybody there that's. No, I don't root against them.
By the way, this is a question I don't know the answer to. Who is your baseball team? Is there a baseball team you root for?
Growing up, my little league team was the Giants, and when I first started little league, so I guess I pulled for the New York and then the San Francisco Giants, but did not pull for the Yankees.
Yeah.
My dad said they win all the time. I'm not going to pull for those guys. So we did not pull for the Yankees, but certainly admired the way they knew how to win.
Sure.
I don't know if I told you the story about sitting with Duke Snider,
No.
Brooklyn Dodger center fielder. The Yankees beat them like 7 out of 8 World Series, something like that. And one day at Black Diamond, they had Ted Williams celebrity little
Oh,
golf
yeah, I
tournament.
remember that, yeah.
And I was talking to him about it a little bit. He said, we used to think those Yankees were the cockiest, arrogant guys. And then after our playing days were over and we're doing golf tournaments like this and we got to know those guys, he said, heck, they're sort of just like us. They play golf, have a beer afterwards, talk their stories. He said, we finally figured out the Yankees just knew how to win better than we did.
Yep.
They knew how to win it all. We could win the pennant, but we couldn't win the World Series the way those guys do,
Yeah.
for whatever reason.
Kept going, too.
Okay.
Well, I'm a Braves fan, so I'm in a great mood today after sweeping the Mets and
Is that right?
almost clinching in the division. So
How about the Kentucky Ole Miss game?
that was, Will Levis holds on to the ball
Way too
in the
long,
pocket.
way too
Yeah.
long, way too long.
And that's that it got to him. Yeah.
But he throws the fade route, and their guy makes a great catch, gets a foot in, and I said, oh, Kentucky's won the game. And somebody was moving while the ball was snapped. Did you see it? I didn't see it.
I didn't see it either. Yeah.
Okay. So instead of Kentucky winning, come back. Then Levis goes back, and he holds it. Actually, he doesn't even see the guy. The guy knocks it out, fumble, game over.
That was the second time.
Yeah.
And down. I think they
Yeah.
were in Ole Miss territory 3 times in the last quarter and couldn't score.
Yeah. I coached 300 and something games, and never did the other team score like that, and then a penalty brought them back, and we win the game. Never.
No. Yeah. It never worked out that way.
Every
no.
time I see some of them, I say, God, how come that didn't happen for our teams? But, they're all so close. All these games are close pretty much everywhere now. So it's who makes the play at the end of the game,
Yep.
or who makes a bad play. Good play or bad play determines the winners, it seems like.
Yeah. And it's, there's so many fourth quarter games now. It's almost like
Yep.
the NFL.
It really is.
All right, one thing
Right.
we have to do here is we have to get, and we'll come back, talk to Coach Spurrier a little bit more, but we do have to get to our Campus USA play of the game. And this one, I want you to look downfield while this play is going on and watch what those offensive linemen are doing. That made me so happy. Watch these offensive well, we have to go back and start it over again because we picked it up in the middle. This is Ricky Pearsall's 76-yard run on a reverse. And it was, I guess you call it a reverse.
Yes,
it was just kind of a pitch. But I've been screaming for a reverse all year. Watch these offensive linemen. Look where they're all. Look at those 3 guys.
Yeah.
And they're finding guys, too.
Yeah,
they're finding guys.
They helped out on that thing. That was well blocked and well run and good play.
He can run, too.
Pearsall's fast. Yeah.
Yep, that kid, he's pretty good. So that was our Campus USA play of the game. And, of course, Coach Spurrier is a spokesperson for Campus USA. And we appreciate them and appreciate him. Anything else you got for us?
Oh, looking forward to the Missouri game. It's another 12 o'clock noon game.
Yep.
So I sort of like to watch those, and then
Yeah.
watch all the other games after that and so forth.
Unfortunately,
So,
LSU is going to be a 7 o'clock game. They just announced that.
I
So.
already announced that?
Yep.
Okay. But, hopefully we can keep improving, which I think we will. We haven't had that many injuries, have we? They got one or two here and there.
I'm curious
But
about Amari
yeah.
Burney. I didn't listen to the press conference today. He got dinged up. But other than that, I think they're okay.
I guess the big news is all the NFL concussions and so forth.
Gosh,
Seems like colleges, we haven't had that many type concussions like they've had recently there.
Yeah.
But, the Miami Dolphins, they didn't handle that to where they should have.
No.
So,
And I saw
Yeah.
the New England game. They had their
their
second
player
string guy,
got
and he
knocked
got
out.
hurt.
Yeah,
And he-
Hoyer
Yeah,
went
Hoyer.
out. And they had a quarterback in there that was playing at Baptist College in Texas 2 years ago.
He was, yeah.
Zappy.
Zappy.
And he played at Western Kentucky last year, but he threw for about, 4,000 or 5,000 yards
Yeah,
at Western
he was very
Kentucky.
good.
Set all kind of records. So he's the guy for Belichick right now. That was a heck of a game against Green Bay. Good game.
All right, and Coach brought in his LIV guide, so he knows what's going on there with the tournament, the golf tournament.
I wanted to give that to you, Pat, because they LIV purse, and it talked about how they were going to run their tournament, and there's about 15 different things here I can't follow. The first 4 teams can choose their opponents. Did you know that?
Yeah.
And the next 2 teams do this, that, and the other. But I couldn't figure it out, so I wanted to give it to you.
Okay.
So
I'll try
when
to
they're,
figure
when
it
they're
out.
playing,
But the only
But,
thing is,
yeah.
I'm still not going to watch it. I mean, no matter they can't do anything to make me want to watch it.
yeah, it's hard to watch it, and you say, well, what exactly are they playing for? Except he gets more money than he gets.
Yeah, they're both going to get a lot of money.
Yeah, they're all going to get a bunch of money.
Yeah,
one gets a little bit more. But, it'll be interesting to see if they hold on. I don't think they're going to merge together. I don't think, but I may be wrong. But I know that's what the LIV people hope. That
it's almost like the USFL.
Yeah. Now, but actually, NFL, they're okay with the summer leagues. They're okay. They're not against them so much the way the PGA Tour is.
Well, they were against them back when you were coaching the USFL.
Yeah, they didn't help back then much. That's true. But now if the summer league can make it, it doesn't affect them.
Gives them more
It's
players.
like training grounds.
Yeah, exactly.
So forth.
All right, Coach. We'll let you go, and we appreciate Coach Spurrier every Monday, and look forward to talking to him again next Monday. We'll be back with all of our great stuff that we do on the third segment here on Another Dooley Noted Podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from Another Dooley Noted Podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Grip Code to Go. What gave you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place like this?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. to Go. Come on down and enjoy it.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life, and the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
Albert, Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down.
Pat Dooley's Story Time is brought to you by East Lake Pediatrics. Nobody knows how to provide pediatric health care for little gators better than Dr. Mike and the other board-certified pediatricians and the pediatric nurse practitioners of East Lake Pediatrics. They have been providing personalized health care to the children of Pinellas, Pasco, and Hillsborough counties since 2004. And with the recent addition of Dr. Chris, who is also board certified in sports medicine, they are now offering care for youth sports injuries as well. To learn more about East Lake Pediatrics, call 727-372-6760. And to get to know them better, listen to Dr. Mike and Dr. Carey on their Peds and Pop podcast on multiple platforms. Gator Football is back, and the best way to get exclusive insight is a membership in the Gainesville Quarterback Club. As the oldest Gator booster club in the world, Gainesville Quarterback Club gives you the access to speakers like coaches, Gator greats, and more. Yeah, I even talk over there. It's pretty cool. Share your passion for Gator football with hundreds of other members at weekly in-person meetings or for non-locals via Zoom with an out-of-town membership. Right now, out-of-town memberships are only $150, and all new out-of-town signups get entered to win 2 Champions Club tickets to homecoming. That's pretty cool. Against Missouri, speaker presentations, home game tailgates, and special events throughout the year. Join the Gainesville Quarterback Club today. Email the club at membership at quarterbackclub.org or call me, Pat Dooley, 352-317-3444, and I'll get you in touch with the right people. Gainesville Quarterback Club.
Is your bank dropping the ball, not playing with heart or skill? Then you need to check out the scouting report on Campus USA Credit Union. That's a 5-star recruit if I've ever seen one. Campus has it all, like great rates and products, friendly service, and smart game plans for you and your money. So why not put some star power in your financial life? Visit campuscu.com or any campus service center today.
Honey, can I recruit you to take the garbage out?
All right, welcome back to another Dooley Noted Podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gators Studios. As always on Mondays, it's great to bring in Robbie Andre. He is, of course, brought to you by Hesser Kipke, and we'll have a Hesser Kipke 3 Things in just a minute as well. And he comes to you on the Big Mills Cheesesteak Zoom line to do the Big Mills Cheesesteak yes, no way, or maybe. Robbie, I saw a video evidence that you were at the game Saturday.
Yeah, I was there. Not Saturday, Pat, Sunday.
I mean Sunday, yeah. I keep doing that, yeah. But it
was very surreal sitting there on a Sunday afternoon watching Florida play a football game.
You know, I think the most surreal thing was that the AP and USA Today polls came out during the game. You know, and you're like, funny. Well, what if is Florida ranked? I mean, you know, what if they'd lost? But anyway, that's what they had to do. But yeah, it was a weird. We've never experienced anything like that before. And even today, I'm like, somebody was talking about the game yesterday. I'm like, you mean Saturday? Oh no, wait, it was yesterday.
It was Sunday.
Just a weird deal. All right, Robbie. But Saturday was beautiful because we got to watch football all day.
Oh, it was great.
Yeah, I did enjoy that. All right. Yes, no way, or maybe brought to you by Big Mills Cheese Steaks. Number one, Robbie, Florida's defense is not a solvable problem this year.
Yes, it's not. Yeah. Pat, the problem is that the defensive line is just not playing well at all, and I think it's just a talent issue, and I think that, you know, the back end might get a little bit better, but as far as getting stops and getting off the field, it's going to be a season-long thing, and I think that Napier knows that, and I think that's why, you know, he knows now he's got to outscore people. So I think he's going to open up the offense more and more down the stretch here and go for more fourth downs because they can't get off the field. They can't make anybody punt.
That's why he's been so aggressive. I mean, think about this. Eastern Washington had 27 first downs in the game. 27. And you could say, well, yeah, there were a bunch of scrubs in there at the end. They got 15 in the first half. So, you know, they were going up and down the field on Florida, and it's like I believe that. I don't think this is a solvable problem. They're going to have to outscore people.
Yeah.
All right.
Pat, I can barely hear you.
Okay, well, I'll talk
now
really loud. Okay.
Loud.
Number two on
now I got a dog issue.
Yes, no way, or maybe Brian Harsin will get hammered by Georgia this week, and then they'll go ahead and fire him and put him out of his misery.
I'd say maybe, Pat. I mean, he's on such thin ice now. It's amazing that he's still standing, really. And, you know, that game the other night was just kind of – they played well at times, but offensively it's not a very good team. You know, it's just not going well at Auburn right now, and I think that people want him out, and they're looking for a reason. And if Georgia whips them real bad, like they probably will, you know, that may be the end for him.
Yeah, you know, it's funny because I think 3 weeks ago I gave you the question, Georgia will have a close game this year. And the answer was no. You know, no way. But then we saw, I mean, I was just blown away. You knew Georgia would come back and finally win the game, especially when that guy ran down to the 1 yard line and they couldn't get in. They had the false start penalty, which was just brutal.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah, but that was.
But I can barely hear you again.
All right. Well, all right. So we'll get right. Okay. Maybe it's because I'm not talking to the mic properly.
Yeah, come on, get with it, buddy.
I mean, there was a stat. I'm probably getting it wrong, but I think I'm close to being right. That Georgia, in its last 6 SEC games, has had a Auburn has had a double-digit lead and has lost 5 of those 6 games. That's not good.
That's a bad stat right there, Pat.
It is. All right, and of course, the way Division I coaches and Power 5 coaches are getting thrown to the wayside one after another. Who knows how long it'll take them. All right, finally.
But if you're Auburn, who would you target, Pat, if you were Auburn? I mean, I don't know who I'd target.
I tell you, there's a lot of people that think Deion should get that job. I don't know if he's ready for that. Yeah, but he would recruit. We know that.
Yeah,
he knows how to do that. Finally, number 3 on yes, no, where, maybe. Alabama deserves to be the number 1 team in the country as they were voted by the AP poll.
I'm going to say no way, Pat. Georgia's number 1. They didn't play great, but they still won on the road. So I think Georgia should stay number 1, Alabama number 2. And I give Alabama credit for the way they responded when they lost Young, the quarterback. And that other guy played great, but I don't think he's the answer going forward if Young can't come back soon because he can't really throw the ball.
I tell you,
I think Alabama should stay number 2.
The other thing about Bryce Young is when you have that kind of a shoulder injury, it's not hard to pop it back out again. I mean, this could be a long, lingering issue, and we don't know.
He could be dealing with this all year, Pat.
Georgia actually got more first-place votes than Alabama. It's kind of like the Tebow junior year Heisman. Remember that?
Oh,
when
yeah.
Tebow got the most first-place votes?
But didn't win.
Yep. By the way, my Pat Dooley story time the other day was about Dave Shinen singing "Oh Danny Boy" to the.
Oh, that was a great moment, wasn't it, Pat?
It was unbelievable. And then Werfel saying, "I knew one of you guys had talent." It wasn't us. It was neither of us. All right, Robbie, we appreciate your time as always, and we will talk to you again on Monday. All right, buddy?
Okay, Pat. Good to see you, Pat.
All right, good to see you. Robbie Andrew, the great Robbie Andrew, brought to you by Hesser and Kipke on the Big Mills Cheesesteak Zoom line and the Big Mills Cheesesteak, yes, no way, or maybe. All right. Welcome back to another Dooley Noted Podcast presented by Titan MRI every Monday and every Friday, and that is our Hesser and Kipke 3 things, and we appreciate Ken Hesser. And look, I don't put Phillies and Eagles stuff in here just because of Ken, okay? But there is an Eagles statement in here. 3 things, as always, is brought to you by Hesser and Kipke, a law firm based in Hale Plantation, specializing in employment, workers' comp, and family law. Visit their website at www.hklawfl.com or call Ken and Jennifer at 339-9920, 339-9920. Number 1, on Hesser and Kipke's 3 things, the NFL is becoming like the NBA used to be, and it still is. You only need to watch the fourth quarter games, and that's great. I loved it. Like on Sunday, after you get done with all the stuff on the Florida game, watching the NFL games, but you're sitting there going, get to the fourth quarter, get to the fourth quarter, because that's when the game will be won or lost. Almost every game comes down to that, which is great. And then they get to a point where one game ends and they go to another game and they go to another game, almost like they used to in the NCAA tournament. Now, of course, they're spread all over the place, but I love it. I love it. College football is not that far behind, where I don't even care until the fourth quarter of a lot of these games. In fact, the other day on Saturday, I was like, I don't want to go to the gym, but, I may miss the start of the Ole Miss Kentucky game. I'm like, who cares? Just be there at the end. That's all you need to be there for. But it is definitely becoming like that in the NFL, which is great for the NFL. Number 2, I did want to mention the Eagles because the Eagles are now the only undefeated team in the NFL, and I thought for sure they were not going to win that game on Sunday, but in the rain and everything, they fall behind 14-0 to the Jaguars and come storming back and win the game. I like that team. They got a lot of guys that I like. For some reason, I've become enamored with Alabama quarterbacks, and I don't even understand why. I love Tua. I love Jalen Hurts. I love Bryce Young. Hopefully he's healthy. I don't know why I've become enamored with these guys, but the Eagles are playing great football, and they're fun to watch. They play at a high level, and they play with a lot of intensity. So thumbs up to the Eagles, the only undefeated team. They're only 4-0, right? They got a long way to go undefeated. They probably won't, but they did. And number 3 on Hesser and Kipke's 3 things, Coach Spurrier was mentioning earlier that the game day is going to Kansas for the first time. That means there are 7 Power 5 schools left. Can you guess one of them? Any of them? Everybody would right away go, Vanderbilt? No. They've been to Vanderbilt, 2008. I remember that. That Bobby Johnson team was a good team. No, here are the 7. Cal. I can't remember Cal playing a big game. I don't even think the Bain game was a big game. The band is on the field. Duke, not surprising. Illinois, it's a little surprising. Maryland, Rutgers, so there's 3 Big Ten teams. Syracuse and Virginia, so that makes it 3 ACC teams. A little surprised. Syracuse could still, because Syracuse is ranked, I think, 23rd or something like that. Virginia, I'm a little surprised, but those are the 7 that game day still has not been to. Got to play better. That is our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. Our Leonardo's and Millhopper quick picks, and we got a lot of qualifiers. You guys split pretty much on who qualified and who didn't. I made a decision. We're going to pull a winner on Monday, and next Monday, a week from now. So we'll send you a copy of my book that just came out with a re-release with new chapters and $25 at Leonardo's. What a great deal that is. And we're going to make this one very simple for tonight. Not tonight, but Wednesday night. Florida at Tennessee volleyball. Who's going to win that match? That game, that is on ESPN 2, 7 o'clock, too, if you want to watch that Wednesday. So Wednesday night, I'm pretty sure I'm right about this. It got moved because of the hurricane from the previous Wednesday. I don't know. They're playing anyway. And I may even have it wrong. But still, just pick a team. If I have it wrong, just pick a team and you'll win. You'll qualify. All right, let us get to the Gainesville Quarterback Club games of the week. I went blank on who the speaker is going to be tomorrow night, Tuesday night. It's Todd Golden, the head basketball coach at Florida. Dummy. But I'm looking forward to that. I spent a little time with him in Destin this summer, and look forward to seeing what he's got to say now that he's into practice and everything. So that'll be fun. Gainesville Quarterback Club. You need to join. It is such a great deal, and it's so much. The speakers are unbelievable. Chris Doring on Tuesday night was spectacular. He was really good. And I told my good joke. I'll tell it to you later. All right, here's what we got tonight. Rams at the 49ers, 8:15 on ESPN. I'll watch it. I'm not that excited about it, but I'll watch it. SMU at UCF, because that game was postponed because of the hurricane twice. It was postponed from Saturday to Sunday and then Sunday to Wednesday at 7 o'clock on ESPN 2, which would be impossible if the volleyball was on there. I may have made a mistake on volleyball. Just send in anything you want. Okay. Thursday, no college games, which stinks. There is an NFL game, of course, Indianapolis at Denver, 8:15 on Prime. I'm not sure that's a game that I really want to spend any time. Maybe a good movie night, but those are the games that are coming up here on this week. And, of course, we'll get to the weekend games on Friday. The Gainesville Quarterback Club games of the week. Let us get to our Adams Ribco to go. Gator of the weekend. I thought long and hard about this. Obviously, I had a lot of guys to choose from a 51-17 win for Florida. And I decided to go with Jalen Kitna. Because, look, what he did late in the game, the pass to Caleb Douglas was a dime. Now we know he can make that throw, and that part of it was all exciting. But he went in the game when it was not, like he called it, the meat of the game. It was still the meat of the game when Anthony Richardson went out with the injury. So he went in there and threw a great pass, 22 yards to Pearsall, threw another completion. He did good in a role that was not, like, oh, golly, Kitna's going in there just to mop up. It was serious football being played at that point. So I decided to make him. And I think the story's cool, his dad and everything, but and how he got recruited. But he got recruited because John Kitna was coaching Dak Prescott, and that's how he got to know Dan Mullen. So anyway, Jalen Kitna is our Adams Ribco to go Gator of the week. End. Keep forgetting what day it is. All right, finally, we go to Pat Dooley's story time, and we're hoping everybody down in that area. I know that they Eastlake Pediatrics, of course, they probably missed the worst part of it, but they probably had. I haven't heard anything lately from what's going on down there, but we appreciate them for being a sponsor and also thinking about them after going through what they had to go through, and a lot of it was stress before it came because Tampa thought it was going to get like Tampa thought it was going to get what Fort Myers got, and it didn't work out that way, but. Anyway, so Coach Spurrier, of course, was just here, and I love to tell his story about him. And the reason I've told it lately is because it's applied in here. He knows Tammy's name, but he doesn't know Jason's name. So, of course, Jason, he gets called my man. Tammy, all right, my man. And he used to do that to the players in the locker room. Like, Danny, all right, Danny, have a good game. All right, Ike, let's go out and play good. All right, my man, if you didn't know the player's name. So I said, Jason, guys who were on scholarship at the University of Florida got called my man. There's nothing, you don't have to worry about it. But there's a better story than that, and that was when my friend David Jones, who wrote for Florida Today, was a really good writer before he got out of the business, which everybody needs to get out of the business. But anyway, we had a press conference. He had forgotten a notebook. So he went back and got it. And when he came back out, Coach Spurrier was walking back down the hall, and he saw him, and he knew him by sight, but he didn't know his name, and so he just went, all right, and Steve goes, hey Coach, how you doing? He goes, all right, sports writer. that's all he could think of was sports writer. All right, sports writer. Well, that's what we called him from then on, sports writer. And you're my man, Jason. All right, and you're my girl. Is girl or woman? What is more appropriate? You're 22? Gal. You're my gal. Well, we appreciate the great job they did producing today. Believe me, it's a lot of work to produce this show because I got graphics and tape things and everything. Friday, Danny Werfel will join us, and we appreciate him as well. We'll get out of here. Until next time, I am Pat Dooley. For Another Dooley Noted Podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gators Studios. I am deep, I'm way back, and I am out of here.